Hey, what up, Donkey Nation? It is time. It is motherfucking time. It's loud. Music time. Loud for me. I don't think for you, based on the way the channels of information work. We are getting into, I'm talking deep into, the multimodal neuron. It's time. It's time. Need to pull up two papers, blogs, whatever. Yes. So, Max, the wonderful Max, he and I have been talking about random things to do with Noam Chomsky and the way the world works, or rather doesn't. Yes, and then we just want the original clip paper here. Let me pull this up. For you. For you. Oops. This is a display. I'm not editing this. The quality of the show is plummeting. I don't care. You can fuck yourself. That's how I feel. But also, let's work together and be friends. Okay. Is this window capture? That's right. I don't care. There we go. Ta-da! My face. I need to get smaller. So I've been going to the gym. Okay, fuck off. I'm working on it, kind of. Things you gotta care, and there's the rub. Right? That's the tough part. It's like actually giving a shit how you look and how people think of you. That is equally a difficult component. So, hello and welcome. My name happens to be Walker Stipe. Walker, as in the genocidal maniac, Bush family. Yes. You gotta take humor in the way things are. Why isn't that interesting? So, how do we... One moment, please. Want to do that? Sure. Ta-da! There we go. Okay. I'm figuring shit out. Now, if I go here, hey, you can see the little globe, the little sphere. So, what is the point of the talk we're having today? You, whoever you may be, we're having an individual conversation where I'm doing all the speaking, but I'm imagining your thoughts, so it's a simulated conversation where you don't get to say anything, but I get to imagine who or what you may be, and the questions and thoughts you may have. That's what a conversation is. Depending on how narcissistic you are. Who knows? There's more beer. Certainly a gradient, spectrum, whatever. Multimodal neurons and artificial neural networks, ANNs, are really fucking important. Why? Because let's start at the end. What do we want AI to do? Normal shit. We want it to take out the trash. We want it to drive us around and not kill us. We want it to solve climate change and all these other real big issues and shit. But we want it to be able to think and whatever. And it's fine to be like, what does it mean to think? And all these philosophical questions and do some finger blasting. God, I love that phrase. It's really good. My blasts need some fingering. I'm just going to move on from that. However, we are at an impasse. We don't see that. What we see is data quality issues. It's not a data quality issue. I'm writing a paper about this because it's making me very angry that people think that just like, oh, we need better, SQL, we need cleaner data, and, it's an 80-20, spend much of your time cleaning the data, and, garbage in, garbage out. Wrong. All of this wrong. False. Or rather, that is the state of the world, and that tells me not that we need cleaner data, but that our algorithms are close but not there. Because we don't have self-driving cars. We don't have AI systems that are truly general. To reference, obviously, one of my favorite people, Chelsea Finn. They trained in a robot, a literal robot, to flip a spatula, toy, burger, or something like that. and they were like, hey, we taught taught a robot how to flip a spatula. No. What they did was teach a robot to flip that burger with this spatula in this environment, on this table or whatever. And when they swapped, when anything changed, everything broke. And this has been known about for a very long time. I first learned about it, I think, from Pedro Dominguez, who is, gotta get off Twitter. For fuck's sake, man, we get it. Yes, wokeism is bullshit, we get it, but also, like, there are issues, we get it. What's the solution? The fact that we have these savants, these AI savants that memorize and they don't generalize. And how do we get them to generalize? Because that's one of the key things. I think Demis Hassabis, still can't say his name or his first name. I love him regardless. Is that transfer learning, the ability to learn something here and apply it over there. I think video games are a great way to do this because the real world is insane, whereas video games have a bit of sanity enforced in them. So it's a way to enforce sanity upon yourself. Yeah. But that transfer learning, according to Demis Hassabis, who I love, is really perhaps the most important thing to solve. And that multimodal neurons in artificial neural networks seems to be the biggest step forward in that space. I don't want to say ever, because then it's like, well, prove that it's ever. Definitely top 2 or 3, maybe number 1. It is a fucking massive deal. I don't know how much press it's getting and talking about because I don't listen and I don't care. So first off, I gotta toot my own horn because I don't have any accolades, so I gotta toot it when I something fart joke. Clip and Dolly, the two sort of sister papers, which are the flip side of that same coin. I predicted in one of my videos, I was like, yo, what happened if you, I can't remember what it was, but I predicted it, watched the video. It was basically what would happen if you took GANs and combined them with language models. And the answer was Clip and Dolly in both senses. You're able to combine the language, like literal structured English in this case, encoders, decoders, I digress, with that of image generation, and detection, obviously. To where I think some of the classic examples are avocado penguin or something like that. Really cool stuff. So this is actually the main component that means something to me for the work I'm doing. But that really this paper is kind of the first example of this emerging. They weren't particularly trying to do this, but this is the first real example where this happened. Part of that is scale, right? One of the big things we've learned from people like Stephen Wolfram and my favorite John Conway, may he rest in peace truly. Fuck you, emotions. Is that size, computational power, if you will, sincerely matters to emergence of complexity. So basically this is a big model. It's not something you would train on your local machine, but something that you ideally would have millions or billions of dollars from Microsoft. Hello, Bill Gates. How's Epstein? Is he good? Or how's Ghislaine? Better question, because Epstein's dead and killed himself, right? Believe what you're told. It's fine. It all ties together, unfortunately. But don't lose your mind. Watch A Beautiful Mind. John Nash, one of the greatest thinkers of all time. We get it. We need to be careful. So, in human beings, there is the multimodal neuron. It's the thing we have. Famous example, Halle Berry in Batman. Beautiful lady. Not that it matters. She's also probably very smart. I don't know, but it is a feature of her existence that she's attractive. Fuck off. And the brain is able to respond, to recognize that, hey, this is a picture of Halle Berry. This is a sketch of her. This is her name. And that these are sort of referenced as the same language object. This is in part why Noam Chomsky is the man of the century, but not in whole. Who runs the world? Good question. Terrifying answer. In this neural network that they made, in this AI, it is able to do this. This is fucking huge. So this is the main component that we are hot for. Big deal. That we have a single, it's actually not a single neuron as far as I understand. It's actually more of a layer, whatever. That doesn't matter, but less for those of us who are not trying to code it. I am, so it does. But penultimate layer and clip. Yeah, from a layer. Particular neuron, what? Really? Okay. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm working on it, but I'm a fucking idiot. So, in this case, it was not Spider-Woman. It's not Spider-Woman. It's Catwoman. Damn it. But it's Spider-Man. And sketch, picture, text. It was able to recognize all of these as referring to the same object, entity, name, language, whatever of the Spider-Man. Cool. Previous artificial neural networks could not fucking do this. So they do a bunch of exploring of this. Yannick Kilcher spends like an hour and fucking half just nerding out over this, and it's honestly really adorable and great. He's exceptional. We know this. There are some scary bits. Apparently there's some pornography in here. If you're interested, you do you, whatever. Very interesting, getting into the weeds. Less about what I'm interested in is sort of the nitty gritty, and more of sort of how did this emerge. We know, and I have not dove into this enough, so this is not exhaustive. Go watch Yannick Kilcher and Henry AI Labs and other fucking badass people. Main component is seen on the screen with my face in the way, where somehow, some way, not entirely clear to me how these two networks, these two encoders, were combined, but they were in a sense, and from it emerged the ability to have a multimodal neuronal layer. Clearly I need to get back to that. So I'm just going to read this. Clip pre-trains an image encoder and a text encoder. Image encoder, text encoder. To predict, so keyword is pre-trains, right? So you can train both of these separately. Very important for the grand scale. We're actually trying to make AI. Jeff Kloon. The work I'm trying to do is like putting all these pieces together. Two good examples of, we put a bunch of shit together and it worked really well. Mu Zero and Agent 57 from DeepMind, where they were just like, hey, we got all this awesome shit. Let's put it together and see if it works well together. And it plays nice, and it did, and I think we should do more of that because it has only been fucking awesome so far. So why would it stop? Probably won't. Clip pre-trains an image encoder and text encoder to predict which images were paired with texts in our data set. Basically, you have an image of a dog, and it says dog. So picture, dog, text of dog, they go together. We then use this behavior to turn clip into a zero shot. If I have not talked about zero shot enough, well then nothing makes sense. Zero shot's like perhaps the most important problem we have as humans. Because you never step in the same river twice, bitches. So we need to be able to deal with new rivers, which is the zero shot problem. Thank you, ancient Greeks. We love you. Particularly because you're gay, but not because you're a little bit pedophilic. Is that fine? Okay. Didn't think we were going to go there, did you? We then use this behavior to turn clip into a zero-shot classifier. Basically, you can do things without having seen it before. We convert all of a dataset's classes into captions, such as a photo of a dog, and predict the class of the caption. Clip estimates best pairs with a given name. Yeah, so it makes a bunch of guesses, and it chooses the max of those estimations, basically. It's like, it kind of looks like a cat, but it looks more like a dog. I'm going to say it's a dog. So, what's the difference? So, contrastive pre-training. So this is all the pre-training shit. And create a dataset classifier. A dataset classifier from labeled text. So this is sort of like a self-supervised sort of thing where we're like, hey, we have our own data. We're going to make our own decisions on our own shit. Nobody gets to tell us what to do. Very important for a lot of reasons. Scalability, humans are fucking idiots and propaganda machines. Not misinformation, but propaganda. Fuck you. When that starts being a real conversation in AI, I will have hope again. But until it does, fuck. Use for zero-shot prediction. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. Missy Cummings and Idris Elba of Georgia Tech, whose name I always forget. And somebody will call me racist, but they're both two men, who are black, and very attractive. And badasses. Fuck off. Use for zero-shot prediction. So we have an image encoder that is able to output a text version. And I think that there's the sort of... Oh, Dolly's like the inverse of this, which is text to image. Almost certain. Not sure if we've ever talked about Dino and Pause. Maybe we'll talk about that video. Yeah, so... What else do we need to talk about here? A lot of these papers are really kind of rather massive. Yeah, some of this is about scalability, which is very important. Essentially, it seems that a lot of these are quite scalable. That's huge, particularly when things get to... God, there's a lot to talk about. Maybe we'll do that after. But it's off topic. Bootstrap your own latent. Been looking at that one a lot lately. Yeah, it's not perfect. Kind of first shot, first try. But this is massive, and it seems to be emergent. And I would perhaps claim a bit messy. It has some fail cases, which are really funny. That like this is the adversarial attack, and it falls to the attack. So sort of some of the things that I'm hoping to do to ameliorate, what a fun word, these type of attacks is to have a bit of structure. Not too much. We're not knowledge engineering. We know that's dog shit. We get it. However, we want to be practical, don't we? So, and practical not only in the sense of, be able to actually carry all the gradients and all this sort of stuff, but also more particularly to our own individual human capacities. AKA, I'm a bit of a fucking imbecile, idiot, product of the time, whatever. So, to be able to have a bit of structure will allow us to do things in a segmented fashion to a degree, and then connect them and do some GAN shit, add layers, do some continuation of training, and allow that to be the case. As well as to prevent a bit of brittleness, dropout, and that sort of overfitting kind of stuff, but also that of continual learning. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. And I'm working on it slowly. Do we want to get into that? Yeah, let's get into it. So, should all be in here. God damn it. I'm signed in. Welcome to Collaboratory. Collaboratory. You could call it that, couldn't you? Yes. So there are like 3 components I've been working on. Something like that. No. New. Recent. This one. And that one. I thought this was going to be a short video. Here's I thought wrong. So that's uneven sized and recurrent network. I think these are different. They may not be. So, did I mention there are a lot of components? Did I mention that? Did I mention that because a lot of these papers are written in such a way as to not be easily digestible, understandable as far as the nuggets that make them up, that there's a lot of redoing of work. Maybe you should write the paper more obviously, even to those of us who have a modicum of expertise, such as myself. Monica, calm the fuck down. We're not arrogant. We're just angry. So we need a multitask network. I don't think that's a thing. I think it should be a thing, and more particularly to where it's very, very similar, perhaps identical to an ensemble of networks, which is some very cool stuff. Basically, you have different. Wait. In the video I did, which probably needs a lot of updating, about autism, I mentioned the Hogan twins. Really hope I'm right on that. Yes, the Hogan twins. Not news. Look at them. They are literally craniopagus, I believe is the word. They're connected at the brain, the thalamus or whatever. Are they too? Is this new? I've never seen them before. Not at the brain. Not interesting. Not as interesting. Still interesting. But literally mind melding is rather interesting. Scan? Want to see. Yes. No? This one. Yeah, it's like the thalamus or whatever. They're literally... There we go. Yeah. So like they're sharing brain thoughts. It's crazy. You can taste and feel and see and whatever out of the others. Organs, whatever. So what I'm hoping to do is basically that in a neural network and make sure that everyone's still happy and the dogs and cats and whatever. Again, Elon Musk, Neuralink, pigs and monkeys is the animal reference. I'm not totally losing it here, as far as I know. So we have one network. This is a network. It's beautiful. I know. Thank you. And we make two of them. Then we combine them. That little middle layer is where a lot of that synesthesia sort of shit happens. We share features. We're allowed to transfer some, maybe not all, some learning. We're going to have to be careful. We're going to have to become experts. It's going to take a long fucking time and a lot of goddamn work. I don't give a fuck. And then we're able to have a combination of agents, you know? So at a very, very strict sense, this is one way to solve empathy is to, I mean, this is a hive mind, right? We have two individuals, the Hogan twins, that are then kind of one, but also two. It's a hive mind. It's not, you know, just, it is non-monadic. It's not a singular agent. So, I thought I said interview. So this is really sort of trying to fuck with a few particular instances. All this code is actually public on my GitHub. So if you want to look at it or even fix it or fuck with it, do it. I'm still shit with all that kind of stuff. I will get better over time, hopefully. Probably, but it is a lie to say that experience results in competence. Look at my Dota rank to prove that pretty indefatigably. I honestly take great fascination in the fact that I'm not any better at Dota after a time I will not admit publicly that I have in that game. So, that is this. Basically, I have done that. I've fucked around a lot with the difference between a fucking functional versus sequential type of model in Keras. Basically, sequential is like very rigid and you really can't do much. In a functional, you can fuck with. And that's very much what we're doing. So we are fucking with shit and sharing layers and weights and all this sort of thing to, you know, not only transfer learning, but like literally transfer like parts of minds. Unfortunately, namespaces matter and things are getting fucky. So having to do some copying, and it's just a bunch of random coding bullshit, and obviously a lot of things are not working, hence the commenting and the errors. But enough of it is working that it is certainly possible. There are enough papers that are in this realm that it is certainly plausible and useful to some extent. This is the same kind of entire point of deep and convolutional networks is that you're able to, in the classic, let's see, cat, Neuron Diagonal, there's a, one of the most famous neuroscience papers, which is the guys who discovered that there was a particular neuron in a cat brain that identified a specific angle of line, and that's, you know, something we all have is that like our brain does to some extent break down complex structures into individual components. which is highly related to this idea of multimodal neuron. So the ability to do a multitask network where we train it, hey, learn this shape of line. You learn dogs. You learn how to pick up a fucking hamburger with the flip-flop spatula. The flip-flop. You use flip-flops. And then combine that with other components. That's what this notebook is doing, trying to do. It's getting there. Oh, move to the trash. Right. I think I just renamed it because it was... whatever. I made a network that is fully recurrent on itself, not a recurrent neural network, but I mean, the name's already taken, but it's a network that eats its own shit. It's the input of the network is the output of the network. Obviously, after the first, you need some initialization. So that's cool. The data set doesn't mean anything, but it does work on a, it's like make blobs, so it's not real data, but it is real statistically based data. You get it. So that's good that is something that I've done. It works. And then where was the uneven sized? Oh, yeah. I gotta find it. It's in the GitHub. I don't want to log in on video because then, passwords and shit. But I can find the I can just find the machine. I'm finding Collab. Just Premiere. Let's see. Uneven testing. I think this is the one that exists. Fuck. Or just. Don't yell at me. Okay, so here we go. We have a function that makes a network. It's this one. It says fit model. It's making a network. See, it's a sequential, so it's a simple bullshit motherfucker. But what it does is randomly adds another layer. Randomly, because biology is random, and to some extent that is the source of all creativity in the universe. So we do that here, randomly, rand. And we end up with a model. In this case, because it's random, it ended up, surprisingly, to be even. It's kind of supposed to make an uneven network, but trust me, I did that. In this instance, ta-da, we have a model. It does the thing. I think it worked well. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. The structure is the point, that we have a bunch of individual minds that do not have to be the same size. They can be of different sizes, which is very cool. You don't have to be twins in this world, whereas the Hogan twins are. I think they're still alive. I was going to say were, but that gets dark. Whatever. So that's zooming. That's another good thing, is that we can have different sized shit. And, you still got to match outputs with inputs and stuff. We'll probably fuck with that at some point, because all tasks are not of the same shape and size. Both in many senses, but particularly when talking about the senses, right? Your 5 sort of traditional faculties, 5? Sight, sense, smell, whatever, all of these. But more particularly, and I think this is probably worth talking about, perhaps to a great deal, but we need to stop living in reality. I've talked a lot about this with, not psychopath. What's the one you dissociate with from reality for a bit? Living in your head. Fuck. It's got a name. I don't know what it is. It's a thing that happens. You live in your own mind. If you go too much in that space, you can lose it. Whatever. It's important that you're able to live in your mind. Talked about this a lot. Imagination, highly tied into this. However, too much, bad. But if you can't do that, then you're probably already dead. Whatever. You're too greedy of an algorithm. And you will die. History has shown. So, we need that. Not too much. How did that tie in? I don't remember. I'm still stuck on trying to remember the name. It's going to bug. Doesn't matter. We move on. Okay, we're just gonna end the video. So I'm so stuck on that I can't think. So basically, there are a bunch of components that I'm working on, combining them. Important. Yeah. So we got the 5 senses. I remember now. We have the 5 senses, which like we obviously live in. Animals live in that space as well. But we need to stop living in the real fucking world. We need to live in the head space, or the math space, the data space, whatever you want to call it. But sort of looking at, for instance, climate change is probably the best and easiest example of like it's not obvious. It's not evident in your daily life. If you go outside, you're like, yeah, it's a little warm, but like it's Georgia, whatever the fuck. Of course it's hot. But it's like, no, like look at the graph. Look at, the over time, large scale kind of shit. It's like, what do you mean racism? It's like, well, let's look at, how many people we in prison here and like, why is it so disproportionately, are you saying that it's their genetics? Because then what does that tell us about you and all these sorts of questions? So we need to look at the large scale and live at that scale. Because that's how we need to, that's reality. Closer to reality. Philosophy, shit, no time. So, that we have not only sight, smell, image recognition, language, and all these sorts of things in our AI, but also that we have a sort of what one could call consciousness. I don't give a shit. Some sort of very high level, top down kind of, including all the big data sorts of shit in our agent. And the ability to combine those, which will have very different input-output sizes. Combining them, haven't gotten there. We'll get there. If I mention I'm not getting paid, if I mention that, have I mentioned that? Yeah, Missy Cummings, fucking badass lady. Unfortunately, she believes a lot of lies. That's unfortunate. Missy Cummings. That's funny. She criticizes Elon Musk a lot, which is great. She's badass. She's super badass lady. She was in the military. We've done nothing wrong. Wasn't a genocide. What are you talking about? Which one? Exactly. She's now at Duke, I believe. Badass AI lady. Very critical of AI in the real physical world. Mwah! Masterpiece. And I brought her up. Why? I don't know. Basically, this is very much the kind of person I'd like to romantically be involved in. And romantically as in we'll figure it out. You and I, whoever you may be, maybe you're watching, statistically, very unlikely. But just a badass human, regardless of gender or whatever, just doing badass shit. And so much to talk about with her. Misinformation, AI in the real world not working, tech giants being fucking idiots, and God, just pinch yourself, what is reality? And also encouraging that people like this exist. Just super cool. So, we'll end it on a badass human being. And me. Jokes. Alright, bye.